Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start with this. It would appear that newly crowned, undisputed flyweight champion Gabby Fundora will be staying in the flyweight division for at least one more fight, as her promoter Samson Lukowicz has revealed the undisputed champion will be defending her titles against IBF mandatory challenger Mariling Badillo in either March or April.
Not what I expected. I expected that Gabby would likely move up in her very next fight.
In the comment section down there, you can see former champion Ava Knight saying that she wants next. I don't even know if Ava Knight's been fighting, but whatever. Mariling Badillo of Mexico. Mariling Badillo, a Zanfer Promotions fighter and a fighter that we've talked about once or twice here on the channel. I remember that some time ago, she won a controversial decision over Itzel Garcia.
Itzel, who claimed that she was robbed, and Itzel, who accused Mariling of colorism.
I was robbed and discriminated. I'm tired of a country of injustice where some are favored for interests. Tonight, a WBC title was at stake, and I just learned that Badillo will be signed by the company Zanfer Promotions, which she was. I understand they want to support her, but tonight, I'm the one that won. My rival mocked my skin color, referring to me as La Prieta just because she's white, and yes, I'm a brunette. I'm a Mexican brunette. And tonight, I stole the fight, but I'm not going to give up, nor I'm going to crack on my dream of becoming a world champion. I feel robbed and belittled, but with big dreams of moving forward. I was up on the ESPN cards, and I heard that Julio Cesar Chavez saw me win. I'm going to move forward, proud of who I am and my roots. Manifested.
That's what Itzel Garcia had to say about it.
And I remember immediately after that fight, a lot of people messaged me on Instagram telling me that Badillo got a gift. Badillo should have lost, and Garcia should have won.
I remember.
Mariling and her family have amassed a bit of a reputation as being not so nice people, nasty people to their contemporaries, to the other boxers, not just Itzel Garcia.
Other fighters too.
Fight with Garcia. That fight took place in March of last year, and Marilyn has seen action at least 2 times since then. Once again in July, then again in December. So the consequence of getting a title shot that you really didn't earn, that you don't really deserve, is when the time comes, you're not actually ready to be there.
Ready to win.
It's like lying on your resume. If you actually get the job, you don't actually know how to do it. You don't have the qualifications, and neither does Mariling Badillo for a Gabby Fundora fight. I struggle to think that she's actually gonna go through with this. You're actually gonna challenge Gabby for what she's got.
I've seen Mariling in action. She's a decent little fighter, decent little scrapper, but I gotta tell you, if she actually fights Gabby, Gabby's gonna rearrange her face. Gabby's gonna mess her up.
Sporting a professional record of 19 wins with 1 loss, 3 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 20 professional bouts. This is a quality over quantity kind of deal. Another one of those to where Mariling, she has more professional fights than Gabby Fundora. 20 to Gabby's 15.
But Gabby's 15 is better than Marilyn's 20 because Gabby's fought better fighters than Marilyn. A standout amateur in Cristina Cruz, a reigning champion in Arely Musinho, another one in Gabriela Alanis.
2 world champions.
That went over Cristina Cruz. Cristina Cruz is better than the vast majority of girls that Mariling Badillo has fought. Never mind the champions that Gabby beat and took belts from. Cristina Cruz by herself is better than most, if not all of, Marilyn's opponents.
So even if Marilyn has more fights than Gabby, she hasn't fought better fighters than Gabby, and she's not fought anybody like Gabby. She's not ready for this fight.
Why is she doing it?
Well, she doesn't have much of a choice. If she plans on staying in the flyweight division, Gabby has all the belts there, which bottlenecks all the competition, funnels all those girls to her, that if you want to win a belt in the flyweight division, you have to go through Gabby, because she's got all of them.
For Marilyn, it's either that or move up.
Try to win a belt in the super flyweight division? There are a good number of champions there.
Probably stands a better chance of beating one of them than beating Gabby.
Salvador Rodriguez of ESPN, otherwise known as Chava, says that the financial agreement is still pending, but progress is being made, and this is scheduled to go down in either March or April. I get the sense that this fight will land on the undercard of Zurdo Ramirez versus Uniel Dorticos. It's already shaping up to be a nice card, nice indeed in terms of action. Those are action fights that if you want to see Marilyn get the crap beat out of her, tune in either March or April, because Gabby's gonna dog walk her.
She is gonna Mariling her Badillo.
Men's super lightweight news. Teofimo Lopez slams Bob Arum for trying to wreck his career.
Buddy, you wouldn't even have a career if it wasn't for Bob and Top Rank.
I've often looked at Teofimo's inane babble and erratic behavior as being the byproduct of a crack baby, being a crack baby.
It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I need a crack rock on the spot.
Teofimo Lopez was hit out at Top Rank for trying to destroy his boxing career. The Takeover is currently WBO Junior Welterweight Champion. He's amassed titles in 2 weight classes, becoming a 2-time lineal champion, making him one of the most accomplished boxers in the sport. This has been done under the guidance of Top Rank. However, Lopez is looking to exit the promotional company following his victory over Steve Claggett. In his last fight, he has been targeting several high-profile names, including Ryan Garcia, Jaron Ennis, and Terrence Crawford. None of those fights look close to being made. The current fight that was put on the table for him was against Subriel Matias. Matias is the former IBF Junior Welterweight champion, but he lost his title against Liam Paro, ending his perception as the bogeyman of the division. Lopez was offered this fight, with Top Rank saying that it was the most Lopez would earn in his career, but it would have been put on pay-per-view.
Not a good idea.
Tio could not understand that rationale, given that Bob Arum had publicly said it was not capable of doing well on pay-per-view. Lopez also asked for his buyout clause figure, suggesting he wanted to leave Top Rank. This was after he made a counter-offer for the Matias fight, which was rejected. The narrative is that Lopez wants a guarantee since the Matias fight would not succeed on pay-per-view. That does not look like it will happen, as he lashed out at Top Rank.
I did read an article where Bob Arum said that the fight's not pay-per-view worthy, and I agree with him. But if Tio don't want it on pay-per-view and Bob don't, who does?
Todd do both.
Why?
Likely because of what Lopez wants guaranteed for the fight. The story is they offered him $2.8 million for that fight. Lopez likely wants more than that. Todd isn't just going to give it to him, but he'll give him the chance to earn it on pay-per-view. If they wanted to promote it in the West Coast, if he's Puerto Rican, shouldn't he be on the East Coast in New York? Secondly, it was on pay-per-view. I'm not fine with pay-per-view if it's not for the right dance partner. Listen, if Subriel was really worthy of that competition, then Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, would have still kept him. They didn't even believe it would pass that 100,000 threshold. So why are we going to do it on pay-per-view? That's from Bob Arum himself, the chairman. If you go on Boxing Scene, he said it's not pay-per-view worthy. So why are we still making a fight pay-per-view? They're trying to mess my life up. Literally. My career.
Not exactly. They don't benefit from Teofimo's failures, and that's what often gets lost in these conversations, that they would like for him to do well because when he does well, so do they.
This raises question marks over who he could go next. Teofimo could work closely with the Saudis. He has added Canelo Alvarez's trainer, Eddie Reynoso, to his camp. Alvarez is a free agent, allowing him to secure exclusive deals with various promoters. Lopez could follow that same blueprint. However, Teofimo does not have the commercial value to do that.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Part of that is that he is tied to a big promotional contract. Should he become a free agent, he would be able to rebrand himself and work with the Saudis, who are looking to make the biggest fights. Lopez is no doubt one of the most talented fighters in the sport, but his evaluation of his commercial value has sometimes hindered him. But becoming a free agent could change everything.
What he's not saying is that he wants in excess of $2.8 million up front for what is a Subriel Matias fight. And that's steep.
We don't know the exact number, but we do know what he rejected. If you rejected $2.8 million, what are you looking for? 3.5? 4? For what is a Matias fight?
It's a lot.
So that when Todd Duboff gets it in his head that this should be a pay-per-view, it has everything to do with what you want.
Your demands. It's not one way.
The biggest problem is that fighters like Teofimo want what they want irrespective of what makes sense. Now Teofimo Lopez tells ESPN that he's signed a multi-year advisory deal with Mike Borrao and Keith Connolly, the 2024 Manager of the Year. I am going to focus on fighting the best and let Mike and Keith and my father focus on everything else. Expect big fights from me in 2025 and beyond. This is the takeover, period. We're gonna make a lot of people bleed. Let's make boxing great again.
I suspected that what Teofimo's wanted all this time was to wait out his contract or for some generous benefactor to swoop in and buy it out from Toprank, though I don't see the need for Turkey to spend a fortune on one fighter, just one fighter, when Toprank might let you use him.
Even though he's still under contract with them, they might let Turkey use him on one or some of their shows because it doesn't cost them anything. They're still gonna get their cut. Whatever Teofimo Lopez's purses are moving forward, whatever Turkey pays him to box on his shows, and he pays these fighters well, Top Rank's gonna get a piece of that without having to spend any of their own money, gamble any of their own money. Now, they don't have to worry what a Teofimo Lopez fight brings in. They don't have to worry about how it does at the gate. They don't have to worry about any of that because they get a piece of whatever he makes.
That's a cash surplus. That's money they're getting for doing absolutely nothing.
They don't have to deal with the headache of finalizing a fight for Teofimo Lopez. You want to go box on one of Turkey's shows? Go ahead. As long as we get our cut, we don't care.
It's a game changer, though perhaps not in the way that Teofimo might think, because if what you want is to box on one of Turkey's shows or some of Turkey's shows, he ain't gonna match you soft. There ain't gonna be no Steve Klagetz.
You want to parlay this little arrangement into free agency in the hopes that it'll get you a bigger bag, but you may lose before you get there on one of Turkey's shows. He says he wants to go unify titles with Richardson Hitchens.
Stylistically, that's not a good fight for Teofimo.
If by some chance that turns out to be Teofimo Lopez's next fight, he could lose. He could lose again in his very next fight.
He says he wants Jaron Ennis right after that.
Even if Hitchens don't get him, Jaron Ennis would if he's serious about fighting him.
What does Teofimo's market value turn into after that?
It's a minefield, is what it is. Traverse this landscape at your peril. Finally, in men's super middleweight news, Shakur Stevenson says Crawford will destroy Canelo. Shakur Stevenson expects Terence Crawford to beat Canelo Alvarez. Reports indicate the pair will meet in September in Vegas. Both fighters are expected to have one more fight before this fight takes place. Crawford is WBA junior middleweight champion after having beaten Israel Madrimov in his first fight at the weight. Eddie Hearn hit out at the scorecards, which had Crawford winning by UD. Some felt the cards were too wide, whilst others even had Madrimov shading it. Crawford was not able to stop this opponent like he had done to all the welterweights he'd fought so far, including Errol Spence Jr. Crawford now has to jump 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 168 unless a catchweight can be made. Alvarez has previously said that any fight must happen at super middleweight. Jermell Charlo jumped up 2 weight classes in 2023 to take on Canelo. He lost a one-sided unanimous decision, getting dropped in the process. The additional weight proved crucial, as Charlo failed to have any pop on his punches. Meanwhile, his speed was not what it used to be. Crawford is also 37 years old, meaning that he is in the latter part of his career. He's older than Canelo, who's 34, but Alvarez has been in over 60 fights, while Crawford has been in 41, meaning that the Mexican has more miles on the odometer. But there is danger that Crawford could end up hurting himself, as weight classes do exist for a reason. Kell Brook found this out when he jumped up 2 weight classes to take on Triple G. He suffered a broken eye socket as the former IBF welterweight champion was no longer the same fighter. Crawford is likely to secure a career-high payday, eclipsing the $25 million he earned for the Spence fight. But in doing so, is it a risk worth taking? Shakur felt that Crawford would beat Canelo as he backed his man.
That's what I expect him to do. I don't even hold it against him.
I've been saying this for years now. I'm probably the first one that's been saying this. Even before Terrence is saying this, I always thought that his style for Canelo, I think he beats Canelo. I'm not saying it'll be an easy fight, but he can make it a very easy fight. I ran into Terrence in Dubai, and he's really thicker. He's thickened out recently. He's 38, and he's thickened out. That's another thing, too. I don't think Canelo is walking through his punches. Terrence can punch, and that goes for any weight class.
Shakur can say that, and he can believe it, but ultimately it's up to Terrence to prove it.
Reporter Chris Mannix recognized that this was a massive risk on Crawford's part. He felt the weight and inactivity could have an impact. It would be a little over a year, 13 months. You've got to be very careful if you're going to take a fight above 160 because it's a new weight class.
Canelo's still scheduled to have his regular fight the weekend of Cinco de Mayo, but who will Terrence fight if he does fight? Or does he just wait it out and save himself for that September fight date? Shakur Stevenson, in spite of all of this, he likes his buddy's chances.
But the bookies don't. Canelo Alvarez has opened as a favorite over Terrence Crawford. Quite predictably, I think if you ask most people, they're going to tell you Canelo's too big and he's too strong. Shakur might feel that Terrence has the right style for the job, and maybe he does, if he were a super middleweight.
There is a physical component to boxing that I feel is often overlooked. In between the cool quotes about how it's all psychological, it's all mental.
Tell that to Kell Brook's eye sockets.
It's not saying that a fighter can't work around another fighter's size. We just saw Usyk do that. And what did Tyson Fury weigh? 50 pounds more than he did? So it can be done, but the disconnect is thinking it's going to play out like that all the time. That exception
speaks to the majority when it doesn't. Terrence is taking on a considerable risk fighting a fighter of Canelo Alvarez's caliber at that weight, because Canelo's not just some super middleweight. He himself is one of the best fighters in the world. The rule of thumb is a good big man beats an equally good little man.
That's what they say.
What Shakur says is that Terrence is going to destroy him. Destroy Canelo Alvarez. I'm sorry, but even if Terrence can pull off this miracle, I don't think he stops Canelo.
Destroys him?
No, I don't think he knocks him out. You couldn't knock out Israel Madrimov at 154. I don't see you knocking out Canelo at 168. Your best bet is to work around his power to outpoint him. And even that is a tall ask, because if you can't get his respect, he's gonna walk you down like he did Jermel Charlo.
See what the added weight did to him. Having to carry that additional weight slowed him down, made him flat.
Lost his speed, and he lost his snap. Now Terrence is literally older and smaller than Jermel.
Even if I think he's a better boxer, that stuff matters.
Better than Jermel, perhaps, though good enough to beat Canelo at 168. I gotta see it to believe it.
And in September, we will.